My Galaxy XR headset, controllers, and carrying case in a super plain looking box just arrived. So let's go ahead and get these out of the box. We'll see what they come with, and I'm going to give you guys a full walkthrough of all of these devices. Let's start with the star of the show, the Galaxy XR headset itself. So if I turn the box to the side, you can see that we get these massive pull tabs. There's going to be one on each side. So there's one, and there's two on the other side. Let's go ahead and lift the top of the box up. And we get our Galaxy XR headset right there. So the presentation on this is actually really nice. It's sort of up on a little pedestal, and I can just lift it right off that pedestal there. You can see that it does have a protective cover on the front of it. Let's set this to the side and see what else we get in the box. Under the headset, we get two more boxes. If we lift the flap on the power box, we get our battery pack here. And it looks like we get this little piece. It's just kind of a divider there. And below that, we get the power cable as well. So this is the power adapter. There's a little button here to disconnect it. And on the back is a sticker that says you need to slide it down to lock it. So it doesn't just attach straight on, it clips on like that. The next box is a manual and lens cleaning cloth. So let's go ahead and take this out. This is probably the cloth here. Yep, so we do get a pretty nice large microfiber cloth for cleaning the lenses. Now it's really important that you use a microfiber cloth and not something like your shirt when cleaning any lenses on any VR headset, because if you scratch those lenses, this is going to be really expensive to fix that. So definitely make sure you keep this handy for any cleaning. And we also get a quick start guide in that box. Further down, you get your power adapter. And this is a 45-watt charger because the battery pack is capable of 45-watt charging. And below that, we get about a 6-foot-long USB-C to C charging cable. On the other side, we have our accessories, and we have two different spacers. If I take this first one out, you see that the cushion is already pre-installed on this spacer. And if you look closely at the spacer itself, you'll see that this is the slim spacer. And I can actually separate this from the cushion. So if you want your eyes as close as possible to the screens, you're going to want to use this cushion without any spacers. If you wear glasses, you can add the slim spacer to create a bit more space for those glasses. Or if you have larger glasses, you can switch to the thick spacer and drop that on. And that'll create even more space. And if we look closely at this spacer, you'll see the word thick right there. And in case you wanted even more space, you can technically stack both of these together as well for even more space between your eyes and the lenses. But an important thing to point out about using spacers is the further you move your eyes away from the lenses, the less of the field of view you're going to get and the less immersive it's going to feel. So my recommendation is to start with the smallest spacer or no spacer option, then try just the slim spacer and only move out to the thick spacer if you actually need it. Below the spacers are the light blockers, and these also just attach magnetically to the headset. So if we look to the inside of the headset, you can see that the cushion goes right here. I'm going to have the cushion with no spacers attached right here. So I'm just going to drop that in. And if we want to attach the light blockers, you'll see that each light blocker has a letter telling you which side it goes on. So this is the right side, and this will just drop on magnetically right into here. And the left side works the same. Just bring it close, and it'll magnetically snap into place. Now let's take a closer look at the headset itself. As you can see, there is a protective cover on the front of it, and this just pulls right off like so. And now we can see all of the sensors on the front. We get two 6.5 megapixel color pass-through cameras on the front, as well as 4 tracking cameras with 2 more tracking cameras on the bottom for a total of 6 position tracking cameras. Looking back at the front, we get our depth sensor. This is not LiDAR. This is just a regular transmit-receive depth sensor. But above that is a flicker sensor. And if you've ever tried to use your phone to record a TV and you saw those lines going through it, or the flickering, or maybe the lights in the room were flickering, this sensor can detect that and remove the flicker when you're using pass-through mode. If we look at the side, we get another microphone here and another microphone on that side for a total of 6 microphones. And the reason there are so many microphones is so that Gemini can isolate your voice versus the surrounding sounds. And this makes sure that when you're talking to Gemini, it just picks up what you're saying and not what other people in the room are saying. Looking back at the bottom, we get 2 downward firing speakers, and then we get 2 more upward firing speakers on the top. And this allows you to get that 360 sound similar to Dolby Atmos. On the left side, we get a proximity sensor, so the headset can automatically turn the screens on when you put the headset on and automatically turn them off when you take the headset off. On the right band here, there is this line that you could feel with your finger, and double tapping this switches you between immersive mode and pass-through mode. Taking a look at the top of the headset, we get our volume up and down buttons, and this is a multifunction button. A single press brings up your launcher, a double press will bring up your camera, and a long press will bring up Gemini. And we also get 2 more vent holes on the top. And looking at the left side of the headset, we see that proprietary power port right here. At the front on the right side is a hidden USB-C port, so you have to push this little dimpled area in, then you can kind of get your finger behind the other part and slide it out. So it's a bit of a 2-finger process, not the easiest port to get to, but you can get to it. And this port can be used for things like file transfer if you have any photos or videos you want to transfer either to or from the headset. It can also be used as an HDMI output, so anything you're looking at on the headset can be sent to either a TV or a monitor. But I don't believe it works the other way around. So if you have like a Blu-ray player and you want to watch the Blu-ray in the headset, I don't think you can connect it through this. And this also does not support power pass-through, so you can't charge or use the headset through this port. It does have to be through the power port on the side. And speaking of power, there's no built-in battery on this headset either, so you can't like hot swap the battery pack, for example. Like if you're in the middle of a game and you want to continue the game and your battery's about to die, the only way to do that would be to plug the battery pack into the wall or another battery pack so you can charge the battery pack while it's running the device. If we take a closer look at the lenses and to take the blinders off, you can see that these are pancake lenses because they are tremendously thin. And not only does that give you a much thinner profile, but it's also going to give you a much more clear image compared to something like Fresnel lenses. You can also see white and black dots on these, and that's for lining up prescription lens inserts. So if you wear glasses and you don't want to wear them when you have the headset on, you can buy those prescription lenses and just drop them in place. They hold on magnetically, so if you want to hand the headset to someone else who doesn't need glasses, you can just pop them off super easily. But the prescription is currently limited from -7 to +2. So if you have a higher prescription, like a +3, 4, or 5, those lenses aren't going to be able to help you that much. Behind each of these lenses is 2 cameras for a total of 4 eye tracking cameras. And those cameras can also track your facial movements as well. So whether you're smiling, frowning, and when your mouth is moving when you're talking, those cameras can actually detect that. And that tracking is used for your digital avatars, similar to Apple's avatars, but I don't know if it's going to be quite as good as Apple's avatars. The lenses also automatically adjust to match your eye spacing, and that's called interpupillary distance. And it supports a range of 55 to 70 millimeters. And again, I want to point out that the cushion does come off, so you can add spacers to push the lenses further from your eyes to accommodate larger glasses, but nothing else comes off on this headset. These bands here on the side are permanently attached to the headset. Same with this back strap, and this piece here, while it does flex to accommodate different head shapes, it cannot be taken off or replaced. And this top visor also does not detach at all. So that means we won't see third-party head straps from companies like Bobo VR for this headset. However, I'm pretty sure someone will find a way to attach a battery pack, maybe to this back piece here, even with just some Velcro straps. So this way you don't need to have a battery pack in your pocket. Loosening or tightening the head straps done with this dial right here. Counterclockwise loosens it, and it does loosen quite a lot. This is a very large space here, and it obviously comes to be a pretty small headset as well when you crank it all the way in. Taking a closer look at how the proprietary connector connects, you just kind of press it on and then slide down, and you'll hear a little click. And now that it is locked in place, it's not coming off at all unless you press this top button here and lift straight up, and then it pops right off. So I think this is going to take a little bit of getting used to, especially if you have the headset on and you're kind of fumbling to reach for this to snap it into place. Your best bet's probably going to be to start with the headset off, put this cable on, then put the headset on. If we take a closer look at the battery pack and power cable, you can see that the USB-C part of the power cable has this groove on both sides. And that's because if you push it all the way in, it'll click into place. And if you want to remove it, you can't just pull it back out. Instead, you need to push in this button and the cable will release. Below that button is a sticker that says to connect the charger until a red light appears before first use. So let's go ahead and plug the charger in now. And charging is done through this port on the side. But real quick, if I push this button here, it'll tell me how much battery's left. And it looks like it's totally dead. So it looks like this battery comes dead. Let's go ahead and plug it in to charge it. And now we get a red light telling us that it's charging. So while this is charging, let's go ahead and unbox the controllers. So here are the Galaxy XR controllers. If we flip it over, there's a couple pull tabs. Let's go ahead and pull those off now. And inside the box, you get the two controllers next to each other. And on the left side, we get another box kind of hidden inside. Inside here, we get another tinier box. And inside that tinier box, we get the wrist straps for the controllers. And there's also a quick start guide in that box as well. If we take out the controllers, they have a little bit of plastic on them. And they also have some stickers on those. We could take those off as well. And these stickers are actually, these are brutal to remove. I'll be back in a minute. Well, that was challenging, but I did completely get the sticker off, so now we can move on. So at the bottom here, you'll see a little button, and if you push this, the battery compartment ejects, and you just have a little pull tab here that you need to take out. You can push the battery back in, and you can slide it back in. But if you try to slide it in the wrong way, you'll see it gets stuck, so that's good. You can't put these in backwards, but when you do slide it in the right way, it goes in very smoothly and just clicks right in place. Once you do that, a green LED also appears at the top for a few seconds, letting you know that the controller is powered. Now we just have to do the same process with the other controller, and we're good to go. If we take out one of the wrist straps here, you can see that this is a pretty basic style wrist strap. You just have to kind of pinch this end together and push it through one of the holes. And once you push hard enough, the other end comes out through the other side. Then you can feed the end of the loop in, and now we have them attached. Tightening them is just like any other VR controller. You just grab this little piece here and pull it towards your wrist. Now I know some of you guys are going to be curious about how these new controllers compare to the Quest 3 controllers, so I have those here for comparison. So the button placement, even the joystick size, like all of this is extremely similar in form factor. Button placement, trigger placement, and trigger travel is similar. I do notice that every time I press the trigger on the Galaxy XR controllers, there's a vibration as soon as I get to about right there. When I finish pulling that trigger, I do get a little vibration just in the finger. So there's a vibration motor just for that finger. I don't feel any vibrations in the hand. So that's pretty neat. On the grip, I don't feel any vibrations at all. Now, I should also point out that the headset's not currently connected to the Galaxy XR controllers. So these just always have that little vibration. I think that's just to tell you that the controller is on. They also feel very similar as well. The A button feels a little bit more rounded on top compared to the Quest controllers, but if you're familiar with the Quest controllers, this is going to feel pretty much exactly the same. And holding both of these in my hand, the texture is a little bit different. So this is just like a regular plastic type feel, but the Quest 3 controllers have a bit of a texture to the top of it. In terms of comfort, these feel pretty much identical. I don't think that either one is more comfortable than the other. But the Quest 3 controllers do feel just a little bit more premium. For example, on the Quest joystick, it's a little bit recessed behind this outside border, and the outside border has kind of a rubbery texture, so it's easy to just pull on that border to move the control stick around. It's really, really comfortable. On the Galaxy XR controllers, the top of the button is not quite as recessed as it is on the Quest 3 controllers. So when I rub my finger across the top of it, it's a little easier to just kind of slide off the top than just grip immediately like it does with the Quest 3 controllers. Is this a huge difference? Not really, but it is a tiny difference that I noticed while having both of them in my hand at the same time. Another really big difference to point out is in this area right here. You can see that it's a depressed area on the Galaxy XR controllers, and this is a touch-sensitive area that can be used for scrolling through your menus. The Quest 3 controllers don't have that option at all. And the last thing I want to point out is that just the overall color scheme on the Quest 3 controllers I do like better than the Galaxy XR controllers personally, but let me know what you guys think about these two different designs in the comments below. All right, so let's set these controllers to the side and take a look at the carrying case. So this is a weird one because it's a completely plain white box that it comes in. There were two little pull tabs here that I already pulled off because I thought maybe there was a normal box on the inside, but nope. If I go ahead and open this, you'll see the carry handle right there. And if I pull on this, you see that the case slides right out. And so this is actually starting to make a bit more sense. I have a feeling that when this is sold in stores, it's going to be sold just like this. So now that I have hands-on with the case, the first thing I noticed immediately when touching it is this is like a really kind of spongy feel to it. It feels really good, almost like a a leather type material, but with padding or cushioning behind it. So already I feel real confident that I could throw the headset with this case on it and it'd be totally safe. This actually feels really, really sturdy. And if I slide this to the side, I can just pull this off. And if I flip it over, you can see the back side of the case looks just the same as the front side of the case. If we look at the side of the case, there's this white piece holding the zipper in place. So I actually have to push through that. Then I can grab the zipper. This feels like a metal zipper or like a super hard plastic. And if I pull on this, it unzips pretty smoothly. Yeah, the first one, it was kind of getting a little stuck right here for a second, but no, yeah, it gets stuck a little bit there. So not quite as smooth as I was hoping. The reason I'm actually checking this is because Meta released a zipper on their first, for their first quest that was super terrible, and it would constantly get stuck and broken. So that was just a little bit of a concern of mine when I first started unzipping this. I'm like, oh no, not again. Let me go ahead and pull this piece out. So this is the piece that was holding the zipper in place. That's just a little paper piece that you could throw out. So let me go ahead and zip this up one more time just to see how this goes. Yeah, no, that's pretty good. All right, no complaints with the zipper. That does work well. It did get stuck a little bit there, but nothing to be concerned about. On the inside, you can probably already tell that this is a really soft fabric. You can see kind of like just lines as I'm pushing through it. It feels like this is maybe some sort of a microfiber or a very similar ultra soft material. This little cardboard box has sort of like a quick start guide for the carrying case. And in here is where you're going to put your charger and charging cable. So let's go ahead and put everything in here real quick because I want to see if there's a way to put the controllers in. It doesn't seem like there was, but let's just see if we can do it. So we'll go ahead and put the battery pack in first. It just gets Velcroed down with this little strap right here. Then the power cable gets pushed through this little loop right here. This holds it pretty tight. This is honestly not the easiest thing to do to get your power cable in there, especially because the large part of this seems to get stuck, so you're going to have to kind of twist the cable a bit. It does hold it though, like you can get that in there, so there we go. Got it. So not the easiest way to get that cable in and out, not the fastest thing to do by any means, but it does hold it securely once it's in there. So let's go ahead and put the headset on. I do have the cover still on the headset with the cushion still attached, and even the blinders are on there as well. And I'm just going to drop this in, and that fits just like that. So no issues getting that in. That fits nice and tight. But I will say that it is a pretty tight fit. You do need this all the way ratcheted in, and it really does press in there. The good news with that is that as I shake this around, the headset's not moving anywhere. And the charging block fits perfectly in that little cutout. If I roll up the power cord, I can put that in right on top, and it closes magnetically. So now the big question, can we fit the controllers? And I'm going to guess maybe not. This is awfully tight to fit the controllers. Actually, hold up. If I turn it with the controller backwards like this, so this is definitely not a supported a supported way to carry things, but this does fit here, and it's not touching the lenses. I don't know if it's going to fit when it closes, but let me just see what happens. So let's go ahead and slide that in. So the important things we want to make sure are that we're not depressing these buttons when it's in here and just keeping them depressed for extended periods of time, and none of them are. So that seems pretty good right there. Let's see if we can close it. I have a feeling these are going to hit the battery pack, but let's just see what happens. Yeah, it looks like they might be... Oh, wait. Hold up. This might work. Oh, yes. There we go. That does work. It did fit. You got to press down just a little bit, but not so much that I'm concerned about anything getting damaged. So that's awesome. You can fit the controllers in if you put them in sideways like this. And if I turn this, you can see that it's not touching the lenses at all. It's not even close to touching the lenses. It's touching just the corners of the blinders, but it's not pushing on the blinders either. So nothing is getting pushed in a way that it shouldn't be, that could in any way damage it in the long term. So I'm really glad to see that we can actually fit the controllers in here with everything else, even though I'm pretty sure that's not an intended way to use the case. Then in case you got the case and controllers and you want to install this, just know that the right controller goes on the left side and the left controller goes on the right side, and you should be all set. I did just try a few different other configurations, but this one seems to be the best way to install this without pushing on any buttons or potentially causing damage to anything while moving it around. Now it's time for the fun stuff. Let's get this headset on and check out some of the things we can do. I already have the power cable connected, so I'm just going to go ahead and release the strap a bit and tighten it up, and we'll get this set up. So I just finished setting up the headset, and it was actually really easy because I have a Samsung phone, and if you do have a Samsung phone, you'll get a notification, like a pop-up on your phone. Then you just have to tap to set up the Galaxy XR headset. You get a QR code on your phone. You scan that with the headset, and it'll automatically add your Google accounts to the headset. But the good news is you don't actually need any devices to set this headset up. So if you don't even have a Samsung phone, like maybe you're an iPhone user, you can still set this headset up manually without any other devices. So now that we're set up, I'm going to switch to screen recording on the headset so you guys can see exactly what I see. So here's the pass-through mode on the headset. All the audio you're hearing is also being recorded with the headset as well. And this is my office. Excuse the mess. I recently moved into this new space, and I still have a lot of organizing to do. But anyways, if you bring your hand up, you'll get this little icon here. And if you pinch your index finger and thumb together, it'll bring up your launcher with all of your applications. You can then pinch and drag across to go through all of those applications. But I also have eye tracking enabled. So if I bring my hand down, you can see that I'm selecting different things just by looking at it. So if I want to jump into the Google Play Store, I just look at it and pinch my fingers together, even though they're down by my waist, and it'll automatically open up that application. I can click on the search bar now. And if I want to scroll, I can click and flick my wrist up and down, or I can click and move my wrist side to side, and that's going to scroll horizontally. If I bring my hand back up again and kind of wave it around a little bit, the pointer shows back up so I could start using my hand. If I turn and face my hand towards me and pinch and hold, I get two options, or three options total. I get a back button, a recents button. So if I hit the back button and release, then that takes me back a page. If I hit the recents, it's going to open up my recent applications. If I pinch and hold, I'm going to get the Google icon to appear. Then I can release. That brings up circle to search, so I can just circle something, and that's going to search Google to tell me what that is. That's super funny that it came back as a Quest Pro. That's hilarious. All right. That's pretty funny. I guess you can see where they got their design inspiration from. But this also works in your real environment too. So if I reopen that and I circle this, then it's going to get the Galaxy Watch. If you're facing one direction and you want to just turn and face a different direction, maybe just turn in your chair or something like that, and you want to recenter your windows to that new orientation, you just have to hold the right side of your headset, and it'll snap everything to be centered into your new direction. You can also control things with your voice by pressing and holding the top button. Gemini, open up the camera app. Now I can select between photo and video mode. So if I do a video and I start that, so right now I'm recording a video and I can move around obviously as I'm recording. This is actually recording with both of the front cameras at the same time. So if I go ahead and stop this, then I go to this top right corner here and select immersive view, and I start that. So right now this is actually, let me go ahead and pause this here. I can move. So this is actually a 3D video. Like as I move around, it looks and feels like I can actually reach out and touch the camera in the video. So this is really cool. So you're just getting 3D recording anytime you record with this headset. Speaking of 3D things, if we want to move into a 3D immersive environment, all you have to do is double tap the right side of the headset. And now I'm taken into this immersive view. And I'm going to close out of this. So now you guys can get a better look at this immersive view. So this is a pretty neat looking desert vista. You can change these to a bunch of different things. If I look forward at the water, you can actually see that it is moving, like the wind is blowing and it's kind of making ripples in the water. So it is a reactive environment, I guess. And it does look pretty good. If you've never been in VR environments like this before, it's going to be pretty mind-blowing for you. But if you've used other VR headsets and you've gone to the different VR environments that those have, it's pretty similar to that. And everything is placed spatially correctly. Like if you look at that rock right there, as I move my head, the background moves accordingly. Same for the reflections of that, structure there on the water. You could see it all move as I move myself around. But you can't move yourself in this physical space outside of like leaning forward and backwards. But I can't like move over to that big rock structure. I'm just locked in this area. So now let's go ahead and get the controllers connected. All right, so I have the controllers connected now, and the way I did that was to go to Settings, then Input, then Controllers. Then I just clicked to add the controllers from this page and followed the prompts. So now that the controllers are connected, you can see these lines that stick out from the controllers, even in my real space, that points to those little dots on the screen. I can use both of them at the same time. And if I bring them up into the virtual space, you could see that they automatically transition from pass-through to virtual. And the virtual one, while it doesn't show my fingers on it, if I move the control sticks or if I press one of the buttons, you'll see that those do actually depress. And same is true for the grips. Right? As I press those, they do move in accordingly. And if I press in with either trigger, I do get a vibration that's just in the trigger area. It's just through here. Now, there are vibration motors in the base as well, but when you're clicking, you only feel it in the trigger, which is pretty neat. One thing that doesn't seem to be working is that these touch-sensitive areas are supposed to allow me to scroll, and I can't find a way to enable that. I went through the user guide, control information, and I don't know if it's just in specific applications where this function will actually work. But I did talk to a Samsung rep who was actually demoing these controllers, and he did tell me that these are touch sensitive and you should be able to scroll up and down through different menus. So maybe I just haven't found the applications where this applies, but it currently does not work in the main menus of the Android XR interface. Another really important thing to point out is that when you pick up these controllers, whether you have two or one in your hand, you are locked into controlling, right? So I can't use my left hand to do anything. It's just going to be this controller. It's not until I let go of both controllers that I can switch back to hand or eye tracking. So now that you guys have seen all the controls, let's take a look at gaming and how that works with the Galaxy XR headset. So if I go back to the main menu here, jump back into the Play Store, you can see that there's this immersive starter kit. Now, there's a big difference between made for XR and let me see if I can find it. Here we go. And XR ready. So if it says made for XR, that means this is like a VR game that's going to be full 360-degree virtual environment. If it says, let me scroll down a little bit again. If it says XR ready, that means it's going to be a 2D interface that you can interact with using your touch inputs, but it's not going to be this 360-degree full immersive experience. So if you want to see a list of actual VR games, you're going to go to the search option and you're going to go to immersive fun. Now, these are all VR-ready games. So you have Walkabout Mini Golf, Thrasher, and you guys may recognize some of these other ones as well. Job Simulator is a classic. They've got Demio on here. So there have been some games ported over from the Meta Quest, and all of these games can be installed and played directly on the Galaxy XR headset. But if you already have a huge library of games through Steam VR, or even just 2D games on your desktop or laptop computer, you could play those with this headset too, and let me show you guys how to do that. So we're going to go back into our launcher, we're going to go into the settings, and we're going to scroll over just a little bit, and you're going to see this option here called Game Link. So if I select this, and then I can select to either connect to my desktop through Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi Direct. So if you have like a Wi-Fi 7 capable laptop, you're probably going to want to use Wi-Fi Direct. But if you have a desktop computer that's connected with an Ethernet cable to your network, you might want to go with Wi-Fi. So this is my particular setup. So I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And now I need to make sure that Steam and Steam VR is installed on my computer. And I also need to have Game Link installed on my computer. Now, this was just added to the Microsoft Store like 2 days ago, so it's highly unlikely that you already have this installed. So go to the Microsoft Store, download and install Game Link, then open that application and click Next. Then select your desktop when it finds it and click Connect. Then you'll be told to open up the Game Link app on your PC. There will be a pin, and this changes every time. And you'll have 1 minute to accept the connection on your desktop computer or laptop if you're using a laptop. So I already have that opened on my computer. So if I turn around here, you'll see that there's my XR headset. I'm going to go ahead and click Connect. And now it's going to tell me to That is super funny. Apparently, the audio recording stops working when you're using the built-in screen recorder on the Galaxy XR headset. So that's why it started sounding crazy. So until I can figure that out and why that's happening, I'm just going to talk you through what's happening here. So you can see it loads me into the Steam VR environment. I can see my controllers waving around right there. And everything happening right now is at 90 hertz, and it works incredibly well. Everything was super smooth. I had no issues with stuttering or anything like that. And because these are OLED displays, everything that was black was true black. I had incredible contrast, and the colors looked really vibrant. Now, the headset does support foveated rendering. I just need to figure out how to actually enable it for the headset when using Steam VR, but there should be a way to turn that on. Regardless, even without the foveated rendering, the resolution looked incredible, and I am using an RTX 4090 GPU to play this, so it could be possible that it just doesn't even need to use foveated rendering for this game. Another thing I did notice when I was playing Population 1 though, is that the left thumbstick, when you press it in, it didn't register, like it wasn't working or doing anything at all. So you have to press the menu button on your left controller. Then you're going to want to go to controller bindings, then select edit this binding. Then you want to go over to the left joystick editing options and click on the little pencil. Then you're going to want to click next to the word click. It says reload right now, but originally that said none. So all you have to do is click the none and change it to reload. I know that doesn't make any sense, but that's what it took in order to get it to work. So once that's set to reload, both thumbsticks work as expected. And I think this is just a bug because the headset just launched. By the time you're watching this video or by the time you get your headset, you might not even need to do this, but if you do have the problem, this is how you fix it. In terms of the actual gameplay, everything ran super smooth. I had no issues with any stuttering or loss of tracking of the controllers or my position at all. I was able to turn around in my real environment and all of that tracked perfectly fine. There was also no noticeable lag when pressing the trigger or interacting with objects in the game. And if at any point during the game you need to jump into your menu, you can press the menu button on the right thumbstick, and that'll overlay the Galaxy XR apps and menus on top of the game that you're playing. And if you select one of those apps, it'll take you out of that VR game environment and open up the app for you to use. But if you want to jump back into the VR game, just open up your recent applications and select Game Link. Then it will take you right back to Steam VR. Future me here, I figured out what the issue was with the recording. If you start a recording when you're already in Steam VR, like I am now, then all the audio works just fine. For some reason, if you're recording before you go into Steam VR using Game Link, then that's when everything gets messed up for the audio. So at least it's an easy fix. Now, there are some VR games that come with the headset that you could download for free. One of them is this Job from Home one, and if I grab this, oh, that's pretty neat. So this is obviously showing up in my real world. And what's really cool with some of these games is that they can use your hands or your eyes to interact with things. So if I just look at some of these emojis, I can just select it by looking at it, which is really cool. So apparently I need to create a password with a bunch of emojis. So let's do that.
Please commit your password to...
So now I can just reach out with my actual hands and pick things up. That's actually this is actually pretty satisfying. This is a cool way to do a game. You can just drop that in, and looks like I grab this. I can also physically touch these as well. I don't remember which ones I did, but I think that's going to be fine. Close enough. Now, if you want to just connect to your computer and use the headset as like a monitor for your computer to do just regular work, that's a little bit more complicated depending on what you have for a device. So if you have a Samsung laptop, you can scroll over here and select PC Link, and this allows you to wirelessly connect to any Galaxy Book. But if you don't have a Galaxy Book, that's not terribly useful. The other option would be to use the virtual desktop VR application. This will also allow you to control your desktop computer from your headset, but it costs $25. However, there is another option which may be free, but I haven't tested it yet, so I'm going to have to test that first, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that in a separate video. So be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications if you want to see more about how to use this headset for productivity connected to a computer. Another really important thing I want to point out is found in the YouTube application. So if you look on the left side, you'll see this icon here. And if I select this, this is all of the immersive content. And they have 8K VR 180 content. They have spatialized content. Now, this is really cool. I highly recommend checking out the world's most advanced fighter jet video because this adds physical 3D depth to the actual videos, and it looks really cool. It does feel like you can just reach out and touch the jets that are in the video, so definitely check that out if you get this headset. And Google's going to be adding more spatialized videos to this over time. One more really important thing I forgot to point out earlier is that you could search the Google Play Store for literally any application. Like the Bible app can be installed. So if this can be installed, anything can be installed. And those applications will just show up as 2D windows, but you can even resize them. So if I come to the corner here, I can resize them into like any shape and it just adjusts automatically. Like that's crazy how smooth this works. So whatever your favorite applications are, they do still work with the XR headset and can be installed directly onto it. All right, so I've had the headset on for probably about an hour and a half, and I've got 36% battery left, started with a full charge. And as far as comfort, it's pretty good, fits my head pretty well. I don't have any head fatigue. You probably do see some red marks there, I would guess, because it has been on my head for a while. The front of this is getting a little bit warm between some of the VR gaming coming from the PC and screen recording the entire time. I did hear the fan kick on a few times, but it wasn't getting hot on my face. Another important thing is the battery pack's been in my pocket the whole time too. And this is warm, but it's not hot, it's not uncomfortable, which is really important because most people are gonna be keeping this in their pockets. If you guys want to pick up one of these headsets for yourself, I will have affiliate links down in the description and pinned comment. And Samsung's currently having a huge deal where you can get over $1,000 worth of subscriptions included with the headset. This includes a year of YouTube Premium, the rest of the season for the NBA League Pass, the Pro version of Gemini for a year, and a bunch of other things. And if you get the Galaxy XR controllers or the carrying case, you can get 30% off of those if you get them with the headset. And since those are affiliate links, it does really help out the channel when you guys use them. And I actually wouldn't be able to purchase all the products I review on this channel without you guys using those links. So I just wanted to say a massive thanks again to all of you who've been using those links, because without you, I couldn't make videos like this. So thank you. And if you guys already picked up one of these for yourself and you just want to see how to get the best possible gaming experience or see some hidden features that I'm pretty sure no one else has found yet, and how to use this for productivity on any Windows computer, not just Galaxy Books, then consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you don't miss those videos. That's it for this tech episode. Jesus loves you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.